protesters attempt to storm the compound. A second day of violent clashes, the Pentagon sending in hundreds of additional forces. Wild weather for millions as a New Year's Day storm pummels the Northwest. High winds, heavy snow, tumbleweeds swallowing vehicles, and a new system set to strike from Texas all the way into the Northeast. Ginger Z is standing by. The dramatic kidnap rescue. A suspect holding a woman captive inside a van, leading police on a dangerous chase, and the moment they moved in to free her. Impeachment showdown with the Senate impeachment trial looming, the president lashing out, while his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, says he would testify and more. But is there a new sign that some Senate Republicans may break ranks? The Pope's apology after he was caught on camera slapping the hand of a pilgrim who grabbed him on New Year's Eve. Hanging by a thread, the daredevil base jumper slamming into a mountain, trapped 1,000 feet above the ground, a field of boulders below. The dramatic effort to save him, and it's not the first time. And America Strong tonight, the firefighter and that surprise marriage proposal in Times Square on New Year's Eve, with millions watching.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Whit Johnson, in tonight for David. We begin with the high alert at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad after protesters launched a dramatic attempt to storm the compound. U.S. Marines firing tear gas at the crowd after the roof of a reception area was ignited. It was the second day of a siege that began after U.S. airstrikes on Iranian-backed targets in Iraq. This night vision video showing Marines flown in by Osprey aircraft from Kuwait, and the Defense Department announcing they will deploy an additional 750 troops to the Middle East, quote, immediately. ABC News foreign correspondent James Longman leading us off.
A second day of rage at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. Tires burned, fires lit. U.S. troops shooting tear gas to disperse hundreds of protesters. Smoke once again shrouding America's most heavily fortified embassy. With the damage from the violence clear, U.S. security personnel on high alert, ensuring the crowds don't breach the walls. U.S. helicopters firing flares to keep the crowd at bay yesterday, and overnight, President Trump left with no choice but to deploy new reinforcements to the Middle East. About 750 soldiers from 82nd Airborne Division in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. That's on top of more than 100 Marines already flown in.
Well, I think it's been handled very well. The Marines came in. We had some great warriors come in and do a fantastic job, and they were there instantaneously. This will never, ever be a Benghazi.
U.S. interests defended for now, but their hatred for America runs deep. These are the supporters of Kataib Hezbollah, a militia group supported by Iran and which was targeted by U.S. airstrikes over the weekend. The president holding Iran directly responsible for the embassy attack, threatening payback. Kataib Hezbollah, just one of an army of militia groups with Iranian backing. Tehran's influence and power runs deep in Iraq and across the Middle East. One of the reasons Iraqi security services have been slow to defend their American ally.
All right, James Longman is joining us live again tonight. And James, you're learning the situation is improving outside the U.S. Embassy tonight?
Yeah, that's right, Whit. For now, things have calmed, although the embassy does remain on lockdown. But this is part of a bigger picture of increased tensions with Iran. The regime has escalated its hostilities since President Trump ripped up the nuclear deal and hiked sanctions. It's a high-stakes game that will only intensify over this coming year. Whit.
All right, James, our thanks to you tonight. Now to the wild weather millions are facing this New Year's Day with winter weather alerts in effect across the Northwest. The storm packing powerful winds. Watch as the driver of this tractor trailer loses a battle with strong gusts near the Colorado-Wyoming border. The higher elevations, blinding snow causing spin-out. Several wrecks reported on roads there. In Washington state, tumbleweeds burying several cars, forcing authorities to shut down a highway for hours. At the same time, a new storm is set to slam the south tomorrow before marching east. Let's get right to ABC News Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z. Hey, Ginger.
Hey, Whit, you know that storm has already produced wind gusts up to 97 miles per hour in Wyoming. I want to take you to the map with the weather advisories and warnings in place. That blizzard warning includes Interstate 80 between Arlington and Rollins through 11 p.m. tonight. You could also see another 1 to 2 feet of snow. But that separate storm that's making its way up through the Gulf, raining in southeast Texas, now going to bring severe storms. So damaging winds from New Orleans up through southern Mississippi. That's tomorrow afternoon. Also very heavy rains that make their way to the northeast and mid-Atlantic by Saturday morning. But back in Mississippi, parts of Alabama, Tennessee, which have been very wet the last 7 days, they could see another 4 to 5 inches of rain, flash flooding. A big threat there, Whit.
All right, Ginger, thank you. Next tonight, the desperate search for 5 fishermen missing after their ship sank off the Alaska coast. The Scandies Rose, a 130-foot crab fishing boat based in Dutch Harbor, went down about 170 miles southwest of Air Station Kodiak after a mayday call. The Coast Guard rescuing 2 survivors from a life raft, more resources being sent to the search area. Now to the dramatic kidnap rescue caught on camera in Alabama. Body camera footage showing officers freeing a woman who'd been taken captive, allegedly beaten inside a white van. Authorities moving in after a dangerous chase. Here's ABC's Steve Osunsami with the details and the chilling scene they discovered inside that van.
Authorities north of Birmingham tonight are sharing this police body camera video showing the end of a wild police chase where they arrest an accused kidnapper and free his alleged victim. Inside this beat-up white van is the woman who was held at knife point on Sunday. She was bleeding and screaming for help. Police negotiated for more than half an hour and were able to get her out first. Still inside is the man police are identifying as Sean Sanders, who was not giving up easily and had to be tased.
We were just terrified because we didn't know, whether he had a gun, whether he's going to be shooting or what.
Witnesses say he tried to drag the woman into the woods and was stopped by a man from a nearby church who followed the van and called police.
I didn't have all the facts. The only thing I did know, I wasn't going to let him leave without the police checking it out.
In their report, police say the van had a cage in the back, wire cages over the windows, with blankets covering the inside. The doors were also chained shut. The city's mayor says Sanders is from Los Angeles, was homeless, and was living out of his van. Sanders is in jail tonight, facing kidnapping and attempted murder charges.
The woman who was rescued suffered more than 30 blows to the head with a tire iron and is at home recovering tonight. Whit?
All right, Steve, with that incredible video there, thank you. To politics now, and what will no doubt be a historic 2020. President Trump begins the year hopeful to fend off Democrats and win a second term, but not before facing a Senate impeachment trial, which he took fresh shots at during a New Year's Eve appearance at Mar-a-Lago. His personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, also weighing in, saying he'd be willing to testify and would love to try the case. This, as another Senate Republican suggests, she's open to hearing from witnesses. ABC's Kira Phillips is in Florida.
Tonight, a new year and an impeachment trial looming, but the president kicking off 2020 in Mar-a-Lago sounding optimistic.
As far as I'm concerned, I'd be very happy with the trial because we did nothing wrong.
The key question for senators, will that trial include witnesses, as Democrats have been pushing for? Republican Senator Susan Collins now says she is open to witnesses, and she's taking issue with the Senate Majority Leader.
It is inappropriate, in my judgment, for senators on either side of the aisle to prejudge the evidence.
Collins is the second Republican senator to criticize McConnell after he vowed to work in total coordination with the White House on the president's trial. As fellow Republican Lisa Murkowski said, she was disturbed when she heard that. But the president does have one eager witness, his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, who ushered in the new year at the president's bash here in Florida. The man at the center of the Ukraine controversy telling me he's willing to testify and more.
Does the president want you to testify in the trial? Would you testify in the trial?
I would testify. I would do demonstrations. I'd give lectures. I'd give summations. Or I'd do what I do best. I'd try the case. I'd love to try the case.
He'd love to try the case, he says. Kira Phillips back with us again tonight from West Palm Beach, Florida. And Kira, the Senate is due back next week, but still no indication of when an impeachment trial could actually happen.
Right, that's the big question now, Whit. Lawmakers are asking as we begin the new year when or even if a Senate trial will take place. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi still hanging on to those articles of impeachment and has given no indication of a timetable for sending them to the Senate. And right now, there's no meeting for Senate leaders on the schedule. A lot to come in the new year, Whit.
That's for sure. Kira Phillips, thank you. Next tonight, the wildfire catastrophe in Australia, where the death toll has just jumped dramatically. Millions of acres, the size of Connecticut and New Jersey combined, now scorched. And concerns are mounting not just for human life, but the wildlife too. ABC's Maggie Rulli is in Australia.
Tonight, after battling some of the worst conditions these firefighters have ever seen, it's an all-out war to gain the upper hand on the wildfires that have destroyed 1,200 homes and scorched more than 12 million acres. The death toll rising to 18.
All of my possessions have been totally incinerated.
In the coastal town of Malakuta, 4,000 residents and tourists were forced to shelter on beaches. Some taking refuge on boats. The sky dark with smoke as fierce winds pushed flames toward them. The fires have been burning for months and have had a devastating effect on Australia's livestock and its precious wildlife.
Has anyone got any more? He's so thirsty.
Normally timid koalas desperate for water, getting a helping hand from humans. Environmental officials say up to 30% of koalas in one hard-hit area may have been killed in the fires. This koala hospital along the north coast tells us that the animals they rescued this year were in the worst shape they have ever seen. Now, as for the forecast, we're expecting stronger winds this weekend, coupled with higher temperatures, meaning that could be a recipe for disaster. Whit?
Okay, Maggie, thank you. The new year in Hong Kong kicking off with a new round of violent clashes between police and protesters there. Tens of thousands taking to the streets, riot officers deploying water cannons and pepper spray. Police officials there say some 400 people were arrested. Now to the New Year's Day apology from Pope Francis, caught on camera slapping the hand of a pilgrim who pulled him off balance during a New Year's Eve appearance. Today, the pontiff saying he's sorry. Here's ABC's Adrian Bankert.
Tonight, Pope Francis is apologizing hours after slapping a woman's hand to free himself from her grip. This video seen by millions. The pontiff greeting the faithful after a prayer service in St. Peter's Square on New Year's Eve, smiling and shaking hands. Suddenly, a woman grabs the 83-year-old and yanks him towards her. Visibly stunned, he slaps her hand away. Today, the Pope admitted, at times we lose our patience. Me too, and I apologize for the bad example I gave yesterday. Earlier at the first Mass of the New Year, the pontiff told worshippers, women are sources of life, and every form of violence inflicted upon a woman is a blasphemy against God. Pope Francis is known for being very approachable and greets and shakes the hands of hundreds of people during papal visits.
Some are questioning why the Pope's security team didn't step in to assist. Whit?
Adrian Bankert, our thanks to you tonight. Now to the growing mystery around a brother and sister who appear to have vanished. Tonight, the new developments in the case and the intensifying search for answers. Here's ABC's chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman.
Tonight, police searching for an Idaho brother and sister confirmed they're now investigating a string of mysterious deaths in the family. The whereabouts of the parents are unknown, but investigators believe mother Lori Vallow knows where the children are or what happened to them. Police are now looking into 3 deaths. Vallow's brother, along with the couple's former spouses, even exhuming the body of husband Chad Daybell's first wife.
There was a number of issues that just didn't look right.
17-year-old Ty Lee and 7-year-old JJ last seen in September. Their grandmother is worried sick.
What kind of mother won't cooperate with the authorities?
Brandon Boudreau married into the family and believes Lori joined a religious group founded by Daybell, who has authored books about doomsday.
I don't know why they're doing what they're doing. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know what happened to those kids. I know that there's people who do and they're not talking.
Boudreau says he was almost killed in a drive-by shooting. Police confirm they are investigating that incident too. With there are now investigations into those missing children and those 3 mysterious deaths in Idaho and Arizona. Now, the couple said through an attorney that they want to address the allegations, but only once they've moved beyond, quote, allegations and rumor. Whit.
All right, Matt, thank you. President Trump hinting at a new strategy to fight underage vaping. The president suggesting to reporters that certain flavors of cartridge-based e-cigarettes would be taken off the market for a, quote, period of time. According to the Wall Street Journal, the FDA would ban the sale of most flavored e-cigarettes, not including tobacco and menthol flavors. And a major passing to note in the sports world, former NBA Commissioner David Stern. He led the league for 30 years, dying today of a brain hemorrhage. David Stern was 77.